You've got to build a recipe that's replicatable and executable at a fast pace by people that work a line. And when you bring people together and they eat together, it changes everything. And we host these dinners and you put people who've never met each other at a table. And at the end of the night, you're like, man, did y'all come together? No, we met here 45 minutes ago. And they go home friends. Even with these high prices, meat's too high. Well, Mr. Legislators, if we're getting 40% and somebody else getting 60%, maybe you need to talk to the people that are getting 60%, yeah. Not us that are barely surviving on the 38%, okay?
Yeah. Welcome back to the Wealthy Cowboy Show. Today we got a guy on that has his hands in a lot of different facets of the industry, business owner, has a meat shop, restaurant, lots of things that we'll get into. And I actually found him on social media. So again, I always talk about the power of social media and getting out there and getting seen and having a brand. So that's a lot of people that have been on here have done it. So I want to stress the importance of that again. And then also he was suggested in a comment, and I actually saw that after I'd already started talking to him. But Matt Hamilton today, how's it going?
Man, it's good. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
I feel like the Wealthy Cowboy Show, but today it's just the Getting By Cowboy Show.
Well, I know you said you listened a lot to in the past 24 hours, get a feel for the show. You probably know we always start out with your background, kind of tell us where you came from, how you got to where you are.
So we grew up in southern Oklahoma. My dad's family, we've been there since 1853 when the United States federal government was nice enough to relocate our Choctaw family there from Georgia. Mm-hmm. And my mom's side of the family, we call it West Texas, but some people say Benjamin's just North Texas, depending on who you talk to.
Yeah.
If guys from Fort Stockton say that's not West Texas, yeah. That's North Texas. And they've been there since the 50s. So I grew up in southern Oklahoma, and we had a cow-calf operation. No matter that, we always had cows my entire life there in southern Oklahoma, but really heavily involved in commercial agriculture. So grew up with a farm center, agribusiness. We were heavy in the peanut industry. We grew peanuts, and we were a peanut handler, elevator, dryer, mm-hmm. Grain elevator, cotton gin. Grew up.
Are peanuts still big up there, or is
no,
it died out?
No. See my book, You and the United States Federal Government's Involvement in the Food System and How It Doesn't Work Out for the Farmer and Rancher. So, yeah, no, that's a whole story on how the government messed up the peanut deal.
It by us, kind of like DeLeon and Gorman and a bunch of that. It's all in coastal now, but it was all peanuts, and I knew it would all gone away.
It's all gone. From 1935 until 1999, we had this wonderful thing that only peanuts grown in the United States could be eaten in the United States, and the grower and the shellers paid for the program, paid for all the oversight, all of it. And of course, you had to have the quota grow them, and those peanuts were $670 a ton. And that was great for everyone except the large agri companies and the candy manufacturers. And they set out to get that program killed. In 1999, peanuts went from $670 a ton to $220 a ton. I always ask people, do you remember when peanut butter and Planters peanuts got really cheap? And they go, no. I said, yeah, me either. Their input costs went from $670 to $220, and the American consumer never saw a penny of it. And that's probably at a young age one of the things that really kind of jaded me against the large ag companies. As that happened at the same time that agribusiness background had us, I grew up in that and kind of back on timeline of how the peanut thing happened. So growing up in that agribusiness, you work for dad, you got all the worst jobs, right? Cleaning out the elevator pits and the nasty jobs and the jobs that everybody else would quit if they had to do it, so you get to do it. So when I turned 16, I got a driver's license. I got a job somewhere else. And I went to work for a guy that was a rancher, old codger of a guy, and I learned a lot of things from him. And I tell people you can learn a lot what to do, and you can learn a lot of what not to do. And it's got a 50-50 deal with him. And I went to work for a family of good friends of ours that owned the sale barn in Durant. So 6 days a week I ranched, and 1 day a week I did whatever it is you do at the sale barn, which, again, you can learn a lot and learn a lot what not to do. Yeah. Learn a lot about trader cattle and sorting up cattle, and learn a lot in sale barn. So is that background, but there's just really no money in that. And I had an opportunity to start selling agrochemicals. And so I was selling chemicals and fertilizer. And probably 18, 19 years old, especially with the cost of things, I made more money then than I do now.
Yeah.
I was cutting a fat pig, and you know what? I was making a lick.
Didn't have like a whole lot of bills and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, for sure. Yeah. I was still living at home. I was going to college, and I was farming some peanuts, and was selling chemicals and fertilizer. You know, I pretty good natural sales skills. And no one ever taught me this. I'll not tell this. I think statute of limitations, I'm not going to get any trouble, but I was 18, 19, 20 years old, and I'd drive around in a 3/4 ton extended cab pickup with a big ice chest in the bed. And I learned to go pull up in a peanut field or whatever field they're in. And when that guy's coming to you, you know, you're waiting on him, cut down to the end of the turn road to stop him so you can talk to him. And you go look in the bed of his pickup, and you figure out if he's a Coke drinker, a Dr. Pepper drinker, or a Coors Light drinker. And whatever it is that guy drinks, if you got an ice cold one of those when he steps out of that tractor, we're going to do some business this afternoon. And I tell a story, and people are like, well, how did you have beer? You're 19. I never once thought about minor in possession, or I was driving around farm fields of southern Oklahoma, and
just
everyone I ran around with was 3, 4, 5 years older than me. Yeah. So, but yeah, I remember my sister found that. She goes, "You got a bunch of beer in the bed of your truck." I said, "That's farm use.
It's business.
That's a business expense."
Were you in that role? Were you just like a rep for a company? Or?
Yeah, I was independent, so I literally buy chemicals on a whole charge account and then sell. Yeah. There's a company called
So it was really
International.
just your own business.
Yeah, I was responsible. I was a lot of times financing these guys, which was risky for a 19-year-old.
Yeah,
you know,
and then you were being financed by them.
Yeah. It was. Well, there's all kinds of margin in that they can do that. You can't do that. Can't do that buying and selling corn, but you can do that buying and selling chemicals where they had $2.50 a gallon in it on the manufacturing side, and we're selling it for $65, $85, $100 a gallon.
Some wiggle room there.
Huge margins, and that's what woke me up. Like, wow. But you know, you do that, and you're behind the scenes, so you're kind of seeing politically how we get things done. I was there when the launch of GMO soybeans. The company I work for, Terra, they actually made glyphosate for Big M, and so we got the first GMO soybeans in like '96, and boy, we thought that was just going to be the greatest thing ever, and now we're trying to put Pandora back in the box, you know, with that deal and seeing the long-term effects of that. So, like I said, had that agricultural background, did like every young kid. I had a cow deal go sideways on me. On a lease deal, and I was like 22, 23, lost my rear, moved to Texas, moved down here. I'd been working for a John Deere dealer a little bit, and he started a compost-based erosion control company in Prosper. Let me move down here and run that. So I took this farm and ranching world, construction, and blended it together with these hippy-dippy people who are in the compost business. And you really start getting back to the basics of agriculture about soil health and not killing everything with herbicides and fungicides, and seeing the just miraculous things that we did with compost. We'd grow grass on this table. I mean, we go out and perform where the things had failed. We remediate job sites and all that. So then I was traveling all over the state of Texas.
When was that? Because that was.
So I moved to Texas 2002. So I did that from 2002, and I moved down here married, had 2 kids, and one in Oklahoma, one when I lived in North Texas, one born here in McKinney. And I can tell you that whatever you do, rodeo, construction, 200, 300 nights a year in a hotel room on the road is a recipe for divorce. And, and that cake baked, and I got divorced in 2005, I think it was. And I had to be Mr. Dad. I had these 2 kids. I had a 4-year-old and 2-year-old, and I was taking care of them the way that thing kind of shook out. And so I started selling construction equipment, and that was the most money, the easiest. That's better than selling chemicals. I mean, it was, I was home every night, and it was good. And with the financial crisis, got remarried and married a wonderful woman that's into health and nutrition. I tell people she's into health, nutrition, and triathlons, and I was into Dr. Pepper, Miss Barrett's Honey Buns. And so she straightened me out on what goes in your body and what shouldn't. And I quit with the financial crisis looming, 08, 09. So in April of 2009, I walked away from a really good job. She has a master's in real estate from A&M. She's a property tax consultant. I was selling construction equipment. Started selling beef at the farmer's market, which was a tough road. We bought the building in 2010 to
Were you
shop.
ranching and stuff then?
I was back to raising cattle. So I thought along the way I want to get back to ranching. And the only way at that time, I mean, I bought my first steers in 2008, 9. I was going and cherry picking the best steers from some friends, paying less than $1 a pound for them. I mean, and they were glad to get it. I was paying them Oklahoma City prices, picked up in southern Oklahoma, and they're like, heck yeah, man, come back. And I remember, and then turning those, finishing those. We were pasture finishing, feeding, and then grass finishing. And the farmer's market customer, they wanted pure grass-fed beef. They didn't like my pasture-fed steers. So the market gave me a better opportunity to have both types of beef. But people say, well, I want to do this. I want to do this. What does it take? And I say, well, do you like rice and beans? Old Dave Ramsey deal. So we paid more in income tax in 08, 09. We paid more in federal income tax than we lived on in 2011, 2012, and 2013. So that's what it
was
takes.
A lifestyle change.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, we're in a good position. We're able to refinance our house and be able to do it. But it was tough. I mean, the banks wouldn't loan money. I remember going in trying to get a loan. We had the option to buy this building, and we were trying to get a loan, construction loan, and about to remodel this building. And I wanted to borrow. Well, they were going to owner finance the building, so it was $300,000 to buy the building, which is a huge blessing. And then I needed about $100,000 to remodel it. They would not loan me the money. No way, no how. But they would loan me. I could go buy a brand new double cab diesel pickup. I could buy a bass boat and a brand new Suburban.
Yeah.
But they couldn't. But no way a construction loan. So we hooked and crooked and scraped it by and brought in a partner, and we got the butcher shop open. In this December will be 15 years. So we've been open 15 years. So then that's the butcher shop. In doing the butcher shop, my partner I took on, they were running Wagyu, and that's back before Wagyu were cool. Nobody knew what Wagyu was. So we had
You seem to always be ahead of trends.
Wagyu. Well, I'm trying. I've been lucky, been blessed, but try, And so we were the first guys with Wagyu really at a big level. So I was wholesaling Wagyu into the restaurants in Dallas. And boy, you think ranching's tough. Try the wholesale meat business. I tell people I never once made a cold call in a restaurant. Never one time did I knock on the door and say, hey, would you guys buy beef from me? They all called me wanting to buy beef. But what I did do is every Thursday I chased money. And my wife would print off my AR statement Wednesday and go, you better go see your friends if you want to make payroll next week, and I'd go chase money every week. And that was how the wholesale meat business, it was thin as tough. But through that, we got to see behind the scenes of restaurants and like learning from that old rancher, it's a whole lot easier to learn what not to do. It's cheaper to learn what not to do from someone else. Mm-hmm. So we got to see behind the scenes in the restaurants, and we'd see good people and not good people, and well-run kitchens, not well-run kitchens, and learn that a lot of times you have a really talented chef who can create amazing food, but he's not a business guy. He can't figure food cost. He's not a good guy to work for.
Heard a guy say that the other day. It was like,
there's 5 guys came to mind right now.
Yeah. It was like, there's like somebody that opens a restaurant. They're usually a good cook. Like they have good food, but all the rest of it, they don't know how to do. And that's why they fail usually.
Well, and I talk to people all the time that they're good cooks. That's not how a restaurant works. You're not back here making food. You've got to build a recipe that's replicatable and executable at a fast pace by people that work a line. There's no home cooking. It's home style cooking, but it's people say, what's a kitchen like? A kitchen is 8 people yelling at each other that if you didn't know what they were doing, you might think they were fighting and mad at each other, but actually really close friends that it just seems like they're yelling at each other for 2 hours a night and cranking out a lot of food. So we got to see behind the scenes, got to learn a lot about restaurant industry. The barbecue thing took off. I was selling all the briskets to Pecan Lodge. I was on Diners, Dives, and Drive-Ins with them, one of the diners. It's all staged up, as you can imagine. And they blew up. And they blew up to the point I couldn't supply them brisket. And then Tim Hutchins with Hutchins Barbecue walks in and says, "Hey, man, I knew you help Pecan Lodge. I'm taking over my dad. I want to be the best barbecue in Texas." So I worked with a all-natural Angus program out of Stephenville, and we got them those briskets into Hutchins, and I was brokering those briskets. And I remember one day thinking, I'm making $2 a brisket, and Tim told me that there's more money coming in. The county doesn't know how to spend it all, and I didn't have that problem. I thought maybe I should sell cooked brisket instead of raw brisket. And he blew up. Texas Monthly Deal blew up for him, and he went on to another contract, and that allowed us we opened a food trailer. So in the middle of there, very pertinent to our story of success and what's kept us in business, I created a product. I call it a class called Steak 101. So I'm doing whole carcass Wagyu. I'm doing whole carcass grass-fed. I'm doing whole carcass all-natural cattle. Well, everybody buys ribeyes, strips, and fillets, maybe a sirloin. There's a whole lot of cow left to sell. And I had good burger restaurants I was on too, keeping my burger moving. But there was this thing called Groupon. And Groupon, everybody tell me, you got to do something on Groupon. You got to do something on Groupon. I'm in downtown McKinney, and these businesses are doing well with Groupon. So they're, this thing did this for me. The way Groupon worked is half off, and they get half of that. So you sell this for $1. Normally, you sell it for 50 cents and give 25 cents to them. Well, that doesn't work in the meat business. So I said, well, I do a pretty good dancing chicken show from the chemical sales days. I'll come up with a class to educate people on beef. And I did 2 for free, figured out what my cost was, divided by 4, boom, there we go. Sell a class at break even for customer acquisition. That was my plan. So we want to sell 300 spots, 25 people per class. Groupon, you didn't really control things. They did it. And they said, well, you got to sell a 4-pack and a 2-pack and a single. Okay. So we're going to sell 25 4-packs. That's 100. We're going to sell 50 2-packs, 200, and 100 singles, 300. She rolled it out, 100 singles, 100 doubles, 100 4-packs. 700 slots sold in 24 hours. So we've been doing Steak 101 ever since. So done for about 37,000 people now. We do 60, 70 in a class. In that, we give you an hour of beef industry education and entertainment because nobody wants to listen to a meat lecture. So we make it fun and entertaining and kind of wake them up, teach them about ranching, what we do different than the meat at the grocery store, and why they need to buy American beef and ask for it. Country of origin labeling is a big deal for me. Of course, it's a big news topic, and we can jump into that probably in a minute. But that class has really built the foundation for us serving 18 cuts of meat and having people sample Wagyu, grass-fed, grass-finished, all-natural Angus, my Murray Grey, all-natural Murray Grey cattle. We mix all those together in this class. And now I sell more flat irons and sirloin culottes and a McKinney steak that's out of the chuck flap that we invented. Those are my big sellers because tasting is believing. So once people try these other cuts of beef, and that gives me carcass balance. And
I think people just don't, like you said, like that. They just don't know. They don't know the different cuts. Like just me taking meat science at Tarleton. My parents, when like we were definitely not well-to-do when I was a kid, and everybody makes fun because, like I said, we ate steak and baked potato and ranch-style beans like every night. Dad would cook it out there talking on the phone and drinking beer for like an hour and a half. I didn't know.
Done.
Yeah, I didn't know that you could have pink left in it and stuff. But I was like spoilt on steak, like I didn't even want it anymore. And then I go to meat science and I learn about choice, select, prime, and cooking it differently. And we didn't get into the cooking as much, but just knowing the different grades and qualities and cuts and then I was like, hey, what if we buy this filet that's prime or choice that you can get at HEB? And then we ate those and we're like, oh man, like these are really good. And then you learn about all these different cuts. I think it's just real. The average person just doesn't know how to cook it. It's very, scary to go somewhere new and do something different.
People say to me all the time, oh, you went to Oklahoma State? Did you go to college for this? No, they didn't teach any of this in college. I have an ag econ degree, but I grew up and we were pretty poor. I mean, we went to places that had sirloin in the name, sizzling sirloin, sirloin stockade.
Yeah.
We had sirloin, so I don't think I ever had a ribeye plate till I went to college. And my dad, he's a medium rare guy. My mom is well done. You know, grew up out there pretty in West Texas with an ice box, but really didn't know quality meat, didn't know anything about meat, so I had to learn all that. And I just dove in and started learning, and really didn't know the history when I started. I just knew the system was broken, and I knew what was wrong with the peanut system. So I didn't know when I started selling beef that 4 packers controlled the whole thing. I didn't understand what agricultural marketing agreements were. You know, I didn't know about the the Packers and Feeders Act of 1919. Didn't know all of that. Learned, immersed in that since in the last 15 years to really try to build a system that's parallel to the big system to get meat to the consumer that's high quality and in a healthy way, in a way that's healthy for them, healthy for the cattle, and really be a conduit. So we named our business Farm to Market, and not a farmer's market, not butcher shop. We're a conduit. We love live music. Ran around with some bands in college. We host live music, our event space. I tell people the music industry and the food industry have one problem. It's the people who are in between the people who make it and the people who consume it. That's the only problem with those industries. They make all the money and they control it. And they control what it is that the consumer gets. And that's all we're trying to do is just redirect the profit back, get more money back to the animal, and get the consumer a better product.
So your class, I mean, we can spend some time there because I mean, for one, where did you learn that? Because that's a great lead magnet, like you said, customer acquisition to get people in, get excited about it, and then if it's at your meat shop, you can be like, and we have this for sale if y'all want to take some home, and then they're going to come back, and then also is it like kind of walk me through it. Like, how's it set up? Is it like a date night type thing? Or DX Trailer Sales is based out of Lubbock, Texas, and it's definitely not just a trailer dealership. If you are involved in the Western way of life, and if you're listening to this show, you probably are, they have something you need. From trailers for a day working cowboy to a full-time cattle hauler to hay trailers for a farmer or rancher to arena drags, rope and chutes, and feeders for the rodeo cowboy or cowgirl. They also deal in every kind of hay any of your animals could ever need. Literally anything you need for farming, ranching, or rodeoing, they have something for you. And it's gonna be at a super affordable price. Besides all that, everyone you deal with there is super friendly and helpful. We just got new custom flatbeds built for our pickups, and I also got probably the coolest trailer you've ever seen built. And you can stay tuned for a video we're gonna do, and it's gonna show all of that and some more of their products also. So check out DX Trailer Sales on Facebook or dxtrailers.com.
When it was on the front porch of the butcher shop, we were out there on picnic tables, and I'd yell at you until I got a good sound system. I'd yell at you for an hour. Then we go back in the cutting room, and we would have partially broken down a carcass, and we would go through it, show you where all the steaks were, show you all these different types of steaks. And first I was only cooking maybe 10 or 12 cuts. And then as we grew and grew and grew, we had to kind of cut some things back. The class had swollen to almost 4 hours. People were like, hey, we love you, but we weren't planning on the whole day with you.
Yeah.
So we worked hard to trim that back. We would grill the steaks. We go in the cutting room, then we go out front and grill the steaks. And then I would cut them up on the cutting board and look like a bunch of pigeons. Come get the meat off the board. So we slowly improved. So now we host it in the event space behind the restaurant, and you're at a table facing the stage, and we do the educational portion. And we have couples come. A lot of times people will buy this. We see this get bought as a Christmas or Father's Day present, and they think it's a guy's thing. And the guy comes on like, man, they're talking about all this. No, you got to come. And then they come back with their wives. They bring friends. People come. I've had people come 20, 30 times. So you sit through the educational portion. We take a break. We come back, and then I have a slideshow. And so they go in the cutting room. We show you each cut of meat, talk about it, where it comes off the animal. And then the wait staff comes in front of you and they drop a cut. And they drop an ounce. You got to come hungry. About 18 ounces of meat plus bone marrow. So it's good. And it's a lot. If you leave hungry, it's not our fault.
Yeah.
It's not our fault. I do about 1 a month of those for the public now. I do probably 1 to 3 per month for the private sector. So back to being a guy that sold stuff. So when I sold equipment, we had Rangers season tickets. We sometimes had a suite at the Rangers. We had Mavericks tickets. And that's a shoulder-to-shoulder experience. So if I take you and your wife and we go out to a Rangers game, well, we're sitting shoulder-to-shoulder. We don't really have face-to-face time. Conversely, if I take you out to a nice dinner, well, it's all face-to-face time. And then, after about 30 minutes, we've talked about your kids, my kids, where we're from. Gosh, it's great. Let's, you run out things to talk about. So this Steak 101 is face-to-face time, cocktail hour when you get there, shoulder-to-shoulder time for an hour, laugh, learn something together, face-to-face time, talk about it, shared experience with your guest, shoulder-to-shoulder time, eating 18 cuts of meat, face-to-face time, we give away prizes at the end, and they go home happy. So it's a mix of a shared positive experience. So you came in at your expense, and you should host one of those. I was thinking on the way over here, I was listening to some of your podcasts. I'd like to meet everybody so far that I've seen on your podcast. I'd like to meet that guy.
Well, we'll have that's a great idea because last year we did a 1-year anniversary party that was a lot of past guests and it was open to anybody, but a lot of past guests, and it was a fun time. We had a little bar of the twins, the real estate twins. They have a little bar in Lipan, and it was a cool dress up, go have some cocktails, fun night. I always say, in the same deal, your shared experiences and using it for a sales deal. I always say that however you're going to build a relationship. I was like, you don't really know anybody. I don't feel close to anybody until you go get drunk with them. One thing, you don't have to do that, but that's one way to do it. Or do something hard with them. If you're going to go through, a major life experience or something and you're close, you get to see how they handle that. And then also in my world, working cows, it could be working with somebody, and that can kind of be hard too, but just being in kind of a high stress environment, just being able to, you really get to know somebody. And then, like you said, you have a shared experience that every time you run into them, you can go back to that and then build off of it. Breaking
bread together, eating food together. It's the most basic human. We all do it, hopefully 3 times a day. And when you bring people together and they eat together, it changes everything. And we host these dinners, and you put people who've never met each other at a table. And at the end of the night, you're like, man, did y'all come together? No, we met here 45 minutes ago. And they go home friends. And they leave politics aside and just find common ground through food. And that's what food really can unite a lot of people. And then so with these classes, because I'm trying to educate people.
Do you get a lot of city people that just have no clue on kind of being where you are?
That's all I get. That's all I get. That's 90% we get. And it's and I heard on some of your podcasts, maybe it's Catch talking about that these people don't know. And you kind of have your mind right, okay, I'm going to get asked. Which one's the boy cows? Which one's the girl cows?
Yeah.
Only the males have horns. You get all the questions, but it really, people are so ignorant about food. I got asked recently, why do they dye the cage-free eggs? Why do they dye those brown? Is that so you'll know that they're different? And they're no, different chickens lay different colored eggs. No, really, people don't know. They have no idea. Winter's coming. Number one question I'll be getting asked from now is, are you putting your cows up at night? Do you have barns for them? Do you put blankets on them? Yeah, they grow hair. They grow their hair up. And I tell people, I say, well, let me ask you something. What's a comfortable temperature for you? 70 degrees, right? So the perfect temperature for one of these fat steers they've determined is 35 degrees. So when it's 20, they're feeling pretty good. But no one ever asked me if they're okay when it's 100. It's 70 degrees over their comfort level. No one ever asked me if they're all right, you know.
Yeah, we need to cool them down.
Yeah, if they're cold, you're cold. Well, they ain't cold, but they're hot. they're cold, you're cold. But we get to share that, and then I get to reach, like I had a group all out of the plumbing industry, and of course the topic of late is Argentina beef. There might, you know, I tell people, like I did a ton of national interviews over the deal with the president. And they said, well, you know, all the beef guys, y'all are mad at Trump now. You're mad at Trump. Well, look, my wife gets mad at me when I say stupid tough stuff too. You know, we're not getting divorced. We're just going to work on me not saying stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what we're just working with the president to try to, you know, not say stupid stuff about the beef
somebody
industry.
that the other day was like, he does this all the time.
Yeah.
It's never been directed towards us. Like, he says crazy stuff all the time and we laugh at it. And then the one time he brings us up, it's like, whoa, this guy. Then we're all offended. Like, wonder how all the other people feel.
Right. It's our turn. So these guys, to put it relatable to them, I said, hey, you know, everybody's saying, well, we got to get beef prices down. I said, well, you know, I'm ready for the government to come out and say these plumbers are making too much money. We got to bring down the rate per hour you can charge. You're charging too much per foot for copper pipe. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to bring in some Argentinian plumbers and some Brazilian plumbers, and we're going to get this plumbing rate down for the American consumers. How do you guys feel about that? And they're like, we don't like that at all. I said, yeah. Welcome to ranching. And the other thing, I heard Mike Calicrate shared a guy, Tony Litton was this guy's name. He died in the 70s, died in 76, right after I was born. He was a congressman. I've been listening to his speech of his from 1975. And we don't realize that there was these food issues in the 70s and people were protesting because food got too high. Beef is too much. And
most of everything that happens has already happened if people study history.
I was watching this speech like blown away. So people were protesting that chicken and beef were too high in 1974 and 5. Well, their price, their percentage of their income had dropped. American consumers' actual, what they were spending on food, he was pointing out, had dropped from 16% to 15.5%. And I was like, man, I wish we could get up to 15% of disposable income getting spent on food. That's where it was until the 80s. And it dropped down to about 11 or 12%. And when I was at Oklahoma State in 1998, they said that we've hit the floor. We'll never be able to get it below 11 or 12%. We've had so much improvement in technology and scaling. They never saw genetically modified crops and some of the pharmaceutical technology that gets applied to cattle, and we got it down to 9%. So the American consumer eats cheaper than any country in the world. In 1980, it took the average American worker 12 minutes to earn a pound of ground beef. In August of this year, it took the average American consumer 12 minutes of their labor to earn a pound of ground beef. And those same numbers were applicable in 1975. You're working less. It was 27 minutes in 1975 to earn a pound of ground beef, and it's 12 minutes now. So it's not expensive. But while the government's working on getting the cost down, I'm looking forward to the cost of my diesel pickup coming down and price of my tractor coming down. And so I'm really hoping they'll get involved in some other industries that don't ever seem to get touched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they have more lobbying power up there.
That's a fact.
Yeah, and I think I love paying attention a little bit now towards the markets, the stock market, the commodity market, and it's just all of that stuff is just driven by sentiment. Like the actual supply and demand and all that stuff now.
I'll rip the Band-Aid right off that, and I'm the guy. I make the NCBA guys. They get nervous, and I'm in the room because I'm ready to. Let's do a couple of things. Let's either quit trading feeder cattle and live cattle in Chicago Board of Trade, or let's break some guys from sucking eggs and make them take delivery or deliver on a contract. Like, no, I bought a feeder cattle contract. Where are my cattle? When I was in college, 90% of the people who traded futures did not have a basis. They were not in the business. They were not a buyer of live cattle. They were not a seller of live cattle. The intent of the markets, right? And there's no buyers or sellers of pigs, right? So it's all speculators. and it's now 97 and 98%. So when a bunch of guys wake up in New York City on Wall Street and look at a crop report out of Argentina and decide how to invest billions of dollars a day, where the tail wags the dog. And what we've seen in the last 20 years, but really in the last 10, we're seeing a separation of the futures market from cash. And the cash market didn't respond as aggressively as the futures market did on this last little crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And it scared some people for a few days, but it came back and it didn't respond as drastically. So that tail wagging the dog, LRPs are helping people break away from that, which they're a little bit tied to futures, but there's ways. But the Australian, sell, buy, sell them before you buy them. We're seeing more of that type of marketing. And I know a bunch of guys are doing feeder cattle that way. They know when they're buying these things. They know they've already established their sell slide at 775, so they can buy these things with confidence. They've got them sold, 120 days from now for this. So the more that we can do that and tell the guys in New York City and Kansas City to go take a hike, the better we'll be. We need to wean off that deal. We got to quit letting that dictate what we hope we can get for our product. So I tell people, here's what it's like to ranch. Work all week, and on Friday, get your paycheck and wonder what you're going to get paid.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder what I'm going to make this week. And they're like, I don't do that.
Yeah.
So it's always, but I love talking to consumers. They have no idea. And when the president says, you guys got to lower your prices on cattle, like, what do? Go to the sale barn and go, hey, just stop them at 340. If they bring I'm not going to take 360 for them today. Just quit running them at 340 and let them roll. That's not how any of this works, Jerry. It's not how any of this works. And the people just don't understand how any of it works.
Yeah. And I think you're doing a great job. Like I've gone, I've been in kind of the ranching business, mainly a day worker and cowboy for a big part of my life. And then I've recently got into more business marketing, mainstream, now, and really consumes a lot of my time learning and studying and playing with all that. But I'm like, and one thing that this one guy I follow, like, that makes really good sense in our deal is like, you want to set yourself apart. You don't want to be a commodity like everybody else. You want to market yourself as a superior product. And like, I charge premium for anything I do now. And my whole deal is like, I can do less work. Like, I don't want everything. I want to do less work and get paid more. Or, I'm going to make the same, if I do less work and get paid more. And I'm like, why does the beef industry not do that? Like, I've been trying to get Sean Baker on here. He made a post the other day like, hey, where are these beef checkoff dollars going? He's a doctor and big into diet and fitness and stuff. And I'm like, this guy's doing more for the beef industry than anything else. Like, why are we not saying, if you just advertise this product, like if you ate 3 pounds of this a day, you're going to, all the health effects, you're going to be healthier, you're going to be fitter, you're going to have more muscle, you're going to have less fat, you're going to be happier. The mental, if you just said all this and it was a pill or a shot, you could charge whatever you wanted for it. But now, since we're a commodity and it's just like you get lumped in with McDonald's, Big Macs and stuff, then like nobody cares. I'm like, what? We need to differentiate ourselves. Like your product, you can go up there and educate them and you can probably charge more. But you also have another thing with the imports on the beef. It's like, we also need crappy beef to put in McDonald's and stuff, or they're not going to, they got to get it from somewhere. Their whole business model is going to fail. They can't just sell high quality beef. They got to have the down, and we got to have somewhere to go with the downer cows and stuff like that. So but we need to focus on raising the best and educating and marketing it the best.
And so you talk to a guy, cattle guys are like, value add. I want value add. Well, how do you capture that? So first of all, you want more money. So what are you doing for more money? And about all a guy can do is 2 rounds of shots and long time weaned, here we go. So but that has to go through. There has to be a system. So I'm a big part of regenerative agriculture, and on a board with Noble Research Institute and trying to develop a way for there to be a label. Let the American consumer make a choice. That's why I'm for country of origin labeling. Hey, I think we produce great beef. I'm willing to compete against Brazil and Argentina, but I want you to know it. So why did they do away with country of origin labeling of beef at 2:30 in the morning on a budget bill in 2016? Because we don't have good lobbyists and those big four do. Who does it benefit? Follow the money. And all the data says when you ask the American consumer, what do you want to buy? Will you choose American beef? The vast majority of American consumers, if given the same product, even if it's a little bit more, they will buy American over import every time. And that's why the big guys don't want it. They want to blend it in. They don't have to declare it. Okay. Then I think the question you have to ask yourself is when we do independent research.
Or what's worse, but before you go into that, what's worse is if they put product of USA when it's not from truthfully US. Let's be honest, ordering custom merch is way harder than it should be. You get some random sales rep who thinks ag is short for aggressive. They slap your logo on a boxy tee no one wants or the same cap that your competitor has, and then hit you with surprise charges for artwork, setup, and who knows what else. That's why I've been working with Brand Cowboy. They actually live in the ag, western, and outdoor world. No artwork fees, no setup fees, and they know what looks good because they're part of the culture. They're not faking it from an embroidery shop in the big city or screen printing shirts in their brother-in-law's garage. We're even building Wealthy Cowboy Show merch with them right now, and it's been awesome. They made it easy, fast, and actually fun. And if you want more than logos on blanks, they've got full cut and sew capabilities built from scratch, custom fabrics just for your brand. Private labeling inside and out. Head to brandcowboy.com and book a call. Mention Crockett and get a free 30-minute consultation on how you can build merchandise that your customers will actually want to wear and at such a high quality you could offer it for sale no matter what industry you're in. Brand Cowboy, made for you, made for your brand.
Because it was ground up here in the United States, it was further processed in the United States, and those rules are real vague. So then when we go out and we've interviewed the consumers. They want country of origin labeling. We go and interview ranchers. The ranchers of America overwhelmingly want country of origin labeling. The state cattlemen's associations and the NCBA go, no, we don't want that. That's bad. It's going to be bad. It's going to cost money. Well, you're getting $2 a head. I mean, by the way, where's that going? Next question. No, we won't talk about that. So, sponsors. Yeah. So, but somebody's got to talk about it. And that's why, guys out there that are considered a little bit out there, Mike Calicrate, Dr. Baker, are saying, hey, and I'm pro. You're anti. I'm pro American farmer and rancher. So if you're not pro farmer and you're not pro American farmer and rancher, you must be anti American farmer and rancher. That's just my stance. That's the way I view it. So if you're not trying to represent the American producer to get more money from the consumer for his product, you must be against him. I can only conclude that it's a binary choice for me. And when you follow the money, you see why that the Packers, they want this loosey-goosiness. But I tell the consumer is by and large shocked when I tell them that the shirt they're wearing, the socks they're wearing, the pants they're wearing, the underwear they're wearing have a country of origin label in them, but the meat they buy at the grocery store does not. And they're just like, no way. And
it's just really not even like in my mind, I don't want special treatment, but just a fair equal playing field. I'm all for capitalism and free market. So if I go somewhere and you got a Texas raised or, American raised, whatever it's going to say, steak versus a Brazilian steak, and I try both of them, the Brazilian steak's better. They cost the same or a little bit, whatever it is. I'm probably going to go get the Brazilian steak, but we're probably going to beat them. And I think there's a market for everybody. I mean, you're going to have the people that come to your class are probably, they have more disposable income and they'll spend a little bit more. You also need the cheapest beef, cheapest protein possible for the people that they just buy strictly off price.
Oh, I'm expensive. You can't afford me. You can't afford my beef. It would cost you $180 a year more to buy all your ground beef from me than the grocery store. You can't afford that. The reason you can't afford that is every American spends $16,800 a year on healthcare versus $7,200 a year on groceries. So all I'm asking you to do to be able to afford this expensive, healthy meat I raise is take $180 out of your medical budget and move it over to your grocery budget. And I just solved all kinds of problems for you. Right. And do that in a few other places. You might shave that budget down. But, back to the labeling deal, like you said, I'm for capitalism. I'm for giving the consumer a choice. The manipulation that happens with labeling. So the way these marketing deals work is I tell USDA, hey, here's what I'm doing. Okay. I, Matt Hamilton, swear this is what I'm doing. I sign here. Okay. I put it on a label. There's not nearly as much oversight on that as you would think to make sure that I'm doing what I'm doing. There's a big name in Texas beef. There's a big name that's in the grocery stores, and it's advertised as all Texas beef. Well, if you dig into that program, those cattle have to be in Texas for 24 hours to be considered Texas beef. So all those cattle get harvested in Texas, but they aren't all from Texas or raised in Texas. And they told USDA, well, we're going to have the cattle in Texas for 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But who is going to go dig through websites and request a copy of their AMA agreement to go dig to page 32 to find out how they're declaring that?
And this is kind of transitioning from that back to you a little bit. It was one of the videos I saw was you in the grocery store, and the particular one I saw was like, I think you went through eggs and maybe talked about milk.
Nuts. I'm the egg guy. I was in the stockyards last weekend. People are like, you're the egg video guy. I'm like, great. That's my lifelong dream, to be the egg video guy. So, so that one got about 8 million views. So what we're just doing is just going into grocery stores. What we found out is people like for me to go into a grocery store. And apparently a lot of people think this hat is on backwards. Apparently this is how a lot of people in America think cowboy hats was. So me with my cowboy hat on backwards in a grocery store and just going and learning these things that I've learned over the years of research and going, hey, let me show you that there appears to be 20 types of eggs here, but there's really 4. There's 4 producers of eggs. A lot of American consumers, they see USDA bug, they think that's a product USA. Well, all meat has to be USDA inspected. It has nothing to do with the country it came from. And just like, oh, I thought that meant it's a USA product. They see that USDA stamp. They think that means it's product USA. So just trying to educate the consumer, because if we can get the consumer to demand a better product, if I had a partner on a meat plant, and she worked for Stuff Mart for a long time. She worked for Stuff Mart. You may have heard of them. They're out of Bentonville, Arkansas. And she worked for Stuff Mart. And she said, Stuff Mart is not good nor evil. Stuff Mart only puts the stuff on the shelf that the consumer wants to buy. They're just the best in the world at getting it on the shelf at the time the consumer wants it at the best price. They're efficient at that. So that's all they are. And she told me this in 2012. She says, if the American consumer ever starts to demand organics, Stuff Mart will be the leading retailer of organic products. Mm-hmm. And today, in 2025, they're the #1 retailer of organic food in the United States. They sell more volume than anyone else because the American consumer wants it. So if we can ask the American consumer to demand American beef, and then let's get a system, let's get a program. We need more 44 farms. We need more programs where a guy can take his cattle all the way through. The EIDs get a little tricky. I use EIDs, electronic identification. Some people are against it. It's a tool. But if you want to tell me you create quality and you create value, let's track that animal the whole way through. What have you got to hide behind? Let's track that steer and say he gained well, he yielded well, he graded well, he ate well. I want more of those.
Mm-hmm. And then if not, then you can go back and cull the cow. I heard somebody on a video saying that same deal. Is like, if you can track them all the way through, you go back and maybe this bull's no good or maybe the cow's no good or whatever. And
people tell me all the time, I got my cattle, they're in the top 3% of the blah, blah, blah. I said, how many a year do you kill? Oh, we just send them to Oklahoma City. I said, man, if you ain't taking their clothes off, you don't know what you got. And maybe they are. Maybe they're great cattle. But I tell you that I changed everything when I got behind the meat counter. Because I can sell you one steak. I can sell you a steak. that steak's going to have to sell you the second and third one. And that's why I switched to the Murray. I got out of the ear cattle, even Angus bull over my eared cattle. I couldn't overcome that. And then I got in the Murray Greys. And the reason I got in the Murray Greys, great Wade McCluskey, that I do a lot of those Murray Greys with, he's one's like, man, you got to check these things out. And they don't suffer in the heat. They're just, if you want to go mow
like
your
a
yard.
Charolais or what?
They go back to Australia. One shorthorn cow and one Angus bull got together in the Murray River region of Australia about 1907. And this one cow had these little light cream colored calves. Everybody else had black calves. And it was basically the genetic mutation, right, that it happened and it stayed in the breed. So hybrid vigor genetically stayed with the breed. And that led to a herd of 40, which from this rancher's wife, because he didn't like it. He did not like how I think everything I've read. He was pretty perturbed at those light gray calves out of his high-powered Aberdeen Angus bull. And then her sister and her husband developed the breed, and by the 50s, they're dominating carcass competitions in Australia. So what those things do for me versus the black cattle who've been messed with, and like what's an Angus anymore? Black limousine, Holstein cross. I mean, it's Wild West out there on this Angus deal. But they put a lot of Friesian blood in those cattle to make them taller and stretch them out. Well, the Murray Grey didn't get messed with, so they'll do good for me on grass. They're girthy because I got to put 35, 40 pounds a day of grass through that sucker. Well, putting 35 pounds of grain through one, what my cattle, some buyers would call them wasty for a feedlot animal, I call them girthy, good on grass. But they'll go perform and convert on feed. And they'll gain well, they marble up. They marble like a wagyu if you feed them long enough. And they will put 77% from the rail to the box. National average on cattle is about 72%. Well, that's a big deal. Put an extra, 5% to the box. And that's because they haven't been messed with. They got more round in them. They got more shoulder in them. And they just do well. So they're great cattle. But what are you going to, you have to sell that to the consumer. You have to go, hey, this is a better product. So you need these marketing lanes. And the barrier to entry for a 44 farms, we're going to get those cattle harvested at. We're going to get those cattle boxed at. Because the big guys, this will surprise people. So most ranchers have no idea about the beef packing industry. They are efficient. They do a good job of getting cattle to the box. The guys that had the All Natural Angus program, they were doing 750 head one week and 1,250 head the next week, harvest them in Liberal, Kansas. I remember I said, Justin, what's it costing you to get those cattle killed? 2012. He said, oh, Matt, man, these hides are so high right now. Some weeks I get a check, some weeks I write a check. Do what? He goes, well, they charged me $245 a head to harvest them, chill them, grate them, and put them in a box. And then, hides are they're bringing $85, but I get $70. They keep some for handling them. And by the time I sell all my drop and blah, 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 some weeks they're writing me a check for $20 to $40 a head. You're getting 1,000 head of cattle killed, harvested, put in a box, and you're getting a check? I don't do that. But that's the efficiency of those big plants. So they're efficient. And we need that type of processing efficiency for 44 farms. Now, 44 farms, they use they'd be finding me telling you this thing. They use a plant out at Hereford, Texas that mostly they do cow and bull work or lean plant. But more of those type of plants are starting to do fabrication work and offer kind of a middle of the road efficiency. I use a plant that's not very far from where we're sitting here right now. And I can get one in the box for about $380 into the box. Versus if you're doing a custom processing, $1,000, $1,200.
$1 a pound.
Yeah, it gets expensive. But
still, I mean, if you're trying to retail it, it can be. But I tell people all the time, you talk about beef is expensive. Well, we do a whole one, which is a lot of money at one time, and you got to have the freezer space. But I mean, we had a half Wagyu calf that I think, some of the best beef that was fed out from a buddy of mine. Some of the best beef. We paid retail for the calf. Paid retail at our local, processing facility, and got it in the freezer for is a little under $5 a pound.
Is that on the carcass price?
That was all in. That was with the processing.
Yeah.
And then with the cost of the calf.
So did you do the weight of what you actually put in the freezer?
No.
Okay. So usually you go live weight to carcass 64%. Everybody kind of knows that, and that can vary. It can be as bad as 55%, but nobody likes to talk about that. On certain cattle and harvesting young cattle. Cattle people, I see the mistake that people make trying to get in the beef business or sell beef to their neighbors. They try to harvest 800 to 900 weight cattle, and that steer has all the bone he's ever going to have by the time he weighs 900 pounds. And you got to get him to 1350. I harvest big cattle 1550.
I think this calf was like 14 or 15.
There you go. So you had a 64% carcass. Then people say, "Well, I got screwed. I read that you get 72% to box." Well, that's USDA. That's counting 50-50 trim, tendon, tongue, the whole deal. That's the number I referred to as 77%. Time I take that to a retail cut from carcass to take home, around 50-55%, depending on if you did bone in, boneless, trimmed, 80-20 ground, 90-10 ground. So right now, if you bought a Wagyu from me, carcass, you're going to go home at about $10 a pound of meat into your freezer.
And this was also
that's a $50 ribeye and a $9 a pound ground beef. You pay $10 for everything because the efficiency and just send it all.
And ours was before they got real high. I think I paid $2 for the calf.
Yeah,
the fat calf. So
boy, I tell you what, I can get on the phone and get some trucks headed to wherever the $2 Wagyus are right now.
This was we went through all our steaks. Like we're at the end of this calf. I don't remember when it was we got them, but we just got some ground beef, and I think the tri-tips left. It's been maybe close to a year or something since we've had this calf. So it's before everything went up.
Well, in the grocery store in 1980, 62 to 68 cents of the beef dollar went to the steer. This number's about a six months ago. It was 38 cents. It may have crept up to 40 cents, but we're still, when the American consumer walks in the grocery store and spends $1 on beef, less of that, even with these high prices, meat's too high. Well, Mr. Legislators, if we're getting 40% and somebody else getting 60%, maybe you need to talk to the people that are getting 60%, not us that are barely surviving on the 38%. Okay. Yeah. And that's what I'm here to talk to. That is the hill I stand on every day and tell every consumer I can, that story.
Yeah. Oh, tell us, back to you, tell us about your restaurants, your other entities that you have, and then also getting into social media and like that journey.
So, we got the local Yokel barbecue and grill.
We could talk about beef all day.
Yeah, I know we can. So we were doing the barbecue trailer on the side of the road, which was the most quickly profitable thing I've ever done. We're serving 200 to 300 people a day out of a food trailer. So you got almost no overhead.
This was barbecue?
Barbecue. We're 50% hamburgers because you sell out a brisket every day. Mm-hmm. So I learned from Pecan Lodge and from Hutchins, don't have people turn around and walk away because you're out of brisket. Like, hold on, I've got other things. Like, you're here, have a burger. And so we were 50% burgers, 50% barbecue on that trailer. So that led to us we're going to open a barbecue restaurant. Well, big God story, how a wonderful chef, Adam West, that I'd known from my wholesale meat world, came on board with us, and we became a chef-driven, wood-fired grill. Yes, we have barbecue, but we're a chef-driven menu with a wood-fire grill. So probably one of the nicest places you can get Texas barbecue, and one of the most casual places you can get a 22-ounce bone-in Wagyu ribeye cooked over a wood-fire grill. Just absolutely the best chicken fried steak in the world. We use Wagyu sirloin. We smoke it. There's a lot of smoke all through our menu. We have a smoked onion dip. We smoked onions that go in onion dip. We have a pimento cheese that has smoked red bell peppers that go in it. And so we have these little tendrils of smoke that infiltrate our menu. We have an amazing bar, craft cocktails. I keep about 240 plus or minus bourbons on the shelf at any one given time. Ton of private barrels. So you walk in, we've got 400 bottles of liquor on the wall. Huge, huge bar selection. Really proud of that team. We have a 9,000 square foot event space behind that restaurant with a stage for live music. We do a lot of weddings, rehearsal dinners. I opened a burger restaurant because you always got to move burgers, and really wanted to offer a lower price point, more casual restaurant. So I have no TVs on the wall at Barbecue and Grill. Barry, I want you to talk to your family. I want you to come in and not focus on the Rangers. Hey, I tell people that said, somebody asked me why I keep the Cowboy channel on at my burger restaurant, because we have a channel where the Cowboys win. Cowboys always win on Cowboy Channel. So we have TVs at the burger restaurant. It's a little more casual. And then in the middle of that, I have a clothing store. So these are all in downtown McKinney. And people are like, what are you doing with a clothing store? Well, I had this relationship with American Hats, was catering all their stuff, so was in with those guys. And James Fanolio, friend of mine, Fanolio Boots. And this space came available. This guy offered me this space in downtown. And it's about a third of the price to rent that building of what I can get one billboard out on Highway 75. So I have this clothing store with, custom sport coats from John Smallwood and all these little things. But we have a Texas Standard, Howler Brothers, a lot of Texas brands, a lot of great stuff. A lot of Western, a lot of not Western. The reason that store is a winner for me is not because of getting rich selling clothes. 9,000 to 14,000 people walk around the square in downtown McKinney every Friday or Saturday. All of my brother businesses are 1 to 3 blocks away from that square. So if I get you in my clothing store, my staff's going to engage you and go, hey, how you doing? Where you guys are? You guys eating something here tonight? So if you come in and buy something from me in the clothing store, hey, here's a free appetizer or here's a free drink at the burger restaurant. Go over and see us over there. Customer acquisition. So if I can get you, because if I can get you to my table, there's a good chance I'm going to get you back. Mm-hmm. So I know that 25% of the people that I divert to one of my restaurants or the butcher shop, they're a one and done. They're here out of town. 25% of them are once a year. They're going to come once a year. They're going to come for anniversaries, special events. 25% of them are going to be occasional, 4 or 6 times a year. But 10 to 20% of them are going to be a regular, once a month or more. And when I look at dollars per person on customer acquisition of bringing those people in, I really don't look at the rent at the clothing store as rent. It's a billboard. It's a customer acquisition tool because it's in the middle of the square and it draws a customer in that's not going to walk in the door of the butcher shop or not going to find their way off the square to the restaurants. Mm-hmm. So, at least that's what I tell my wife. She says I'm just too tight to buy clothes at retail and I just want to buy clothes wholesale.
Yeah. That's how I started a lot of businesses. I mean, it's like I'm feeding my horses or my dogs. If I buy more at one time, I can get it cheaper, especially if you find a line that, is kind of starting up or something, and then it's like the dog food's really kind of stuck around several years, but it started out as like, I just want to cheapen my dog food up. And then it's gotten into where it's a little bit profitable now, but it's like, you never know what kind of little. If you didn't hear Ben Hell's story on episode 69, you need to check it out. He's been earning trust in the cattle industry one handshake at a time since 1995 at Western Livestock. Western Livestock is proud to be family owned and operated now with 5 locations: Oklahoma City, Woodward, Comanche, and Waurika, Oklahoma, and also Knoxville, Iowa. They're proud to do business the Western way with honesty, integrity, and a handshake that still means something. You can join them ringside or stream their sales from wherever you are. Western Livestock, where a handshake is their word, cattle are money, and timing is everything. If you're looking to buy or sell, contact Ben Hale at 940-631-BEEF. That's 940-631-2333. Check them out on Facebook or westernlivestock.com.
Well, I started raw dog food because we was so poor we couldn't afford dog food. I'm telling you, it was so tough when we opened that butcher shop. It was like, dude, I don't $30 for a bag of dog food. Like, what's this raw dog food deal I've heard about? Let me look into that. I got meat scraps, and boy, it turned my dogs around. It's like premium good stuff. Yeah. It's a big part of our business. But yeah, raw dog food's a big deal. The social media, I mentioned that store is a marketing tool because a billboard in McKinney, Texas, I can't even afford them. They're $10,000, $12,000 a month. So that clothing store, that's not even a McKinney, Texas billboard. That's a Anna Howe, Texas billboard. So billboard, you look at billboards, super expensive. Radio ads, man, that's a shotgun kind of thing. Super expensive. You get on these big radio stations, super expensive. Social media has been a wonderful tool for small businesses. Right? So you look at competing against a franchise, or they have a marketing, whether it's the chicken and a biscuit place or the Golden Arches, whoever it is, they're doing the marketing for them. So you're the little guy, you got to do your own marketing. We were pretty effective with social media 2015 to 2021. Like I could reach local people in my area. I thought when I would get 5 to 20,000 views, I was really happy with that. And that was good. Then 21, 22, those old tricks just didn't work anymore. Facebook Lives didn't work. Video, it just didn't work. The consumer shifted from Facebook to Instagram, and then they shifted to TikTok. And I didn't follow them to TikTok. So what happened with TikTok, people out, and you're probably aware of this, people follow their kids. So what I mean by that is, well, I better see what my kid's doing on Instagram. I need to see what this is all about. Mom, you're on Instagram. I'm getting off Instagram. I'm getting on TikTok. I better get on TikTok, see what they're doing on TikTok. So that's adults kind of follow the kids. They chase that trend. I didn't do TikTok because I'd had some security people tell me, do not ever put it on your phone personally. It's a real deal security risk. The app is to you personally for your business. And I thought that the government was going to shut it down. So I don't want to go build something that's going to get torn down. So I didn't do it. And I got a little frustrated with social media. It just wasn't working. We were pulling the levers, but it wasn't yielding. And it had gotten where you had to pay so much, where before you could do just a little bit, either free or just a little bit of push, and you could go. So I was pretty burned out on it, and I was just kind of, business was tough in general. It's just things, the economy was kind of tough this year. And I'm like, man, God, I need a sign. So this guy shows up, wants to help me with videos. And when you have retail stores, you're going to get this. You're going to get people looking for donations, people trying to sell you something. And I know the business you're in, that's a tough deal. And then people trying to help you with social media, want to sell you their services. So this guy had been with a national reaching political group, and he was burned out on political stuff, passionate about local food, wanted to help me. So let me work for you for a couple of weeks for free. So we did a couple. He said, we got to do enough videos to figure out what it is people like. Is it you on a horse sorting cattle and loading cattle off the home place? Is it, and we found out people like me going in a grocery store talking about food. So yeah, we got 40, 50,000 views of me like sorting calves in the rain. We got 385,000 views me picking on a grocery store about what they're calling grass-fed beef. And then that led, so when he started, we had 8,000 Instagram followers and 15,000 Facebook followers at the market. Like, I want to push on the market. The reason I wanted to push on the market is from a national reach, I can ship you beef nationwide. We ship a lot of beef. I can ship you beef, and really about to be pushing hard on jerky. You may really like my videos in South Dakota, but you're probably not coming to get a chicken fried steak anytime soon. But, maybe I can ship you some jerky or a t-shirt. So I want to focus on the market because I can sell products nationwide. So that's what we started focusing on. We built that from June, 8,000, 15,000 followers. I didn't have a TikTok account. So we've now, through some very successful videos, we've gone that to 162, 165,000 on Instagram, 100,000 on Facebook. And I don't look at TikTok very often. I think over 100,000 on TikTok. So combined, that's about almost 300,000 about 350,000 in growth. Because when we dive into it, the people who are on TikTok aren't the same as Instagram, aren't the same as Facebook. Sometimes a video has a commonality and it'll go nuts on all three platforms. Usually not so. Usually a very popular TikTok video, a 6-figure TikTok video is 25,000 views on Facebook, 60 on Instagram. Instagram videos will drag Facebook because they tie together, but they're not always the same. So it's really interesting to get behind the scenes. It's kind of like looking at your product mix, what's selling, what's not, who's buying it, to watch that. And I've been fortunate to have this guy that he's good at some little tricks, things that he knows. Great video editor, so he can. I'm pretty good at creating content, and by that we dream up stuff, but I'm pretty good at going out and going in a grocery store, delivering a one-take video, like going in with the talking points, what we want to accomplish, and doing that so that it makes his editing job easier. We can go film for 1 to 2 hours and produce 8 to 10 videos that we use in different places at different times. And we do that once a week. So, and then it's where those go. And then figure out what it is that hits and what it is that reaches. And then really just getting that turned into dollars. So we were given a discount code. The grass-fed beef video, 6,800 people asked for and received a 10% off their first order of beef. 80 of them used it. That's not a very good close rate. So we are now collecting email addresses. So I'm creating a free guide. I don't know if you see, hey, I want to give you something for free. I just need to email it to you. And then I'm going to say, hey, thank you for this. Would you like to hear more from me in this form, or this form? Monthly specials, weekly specials, once a year. And so I'm building my email list by thousands per week. And that's a better close rate. So we're creating scarcity. So intensive grazing. What makes intensive grazing work? Scarcity. So if there's a whole pie here, you and I aren't going to fight over that pie. We'll get a piece of pie later. If there's one slice of pie here, I'm like pulling it over here. You're like, no, we're going to get that piece of pie. So when we intensively graze cattle, we create scarcity. They go in and a lot of cattle, small area, they're going to go graze everything down. They don't even like cherry pie, but they're going to eat cherry pie. So trying to create that scarcity with video, like, hey, here's this week's meat box. There's only 100 of them. Because I can't do 1,000 meat boxes a week, So there's only 100 of them. When they're gone, they're gone. Create that scarcity. Create perceived value, actual value, perceived value, and scarcity. And I think that's really what we're trying to learn and leverage off of. And I'm not saying I've got it all figured out. These are definitely the tools that are starting to work for us. Give the consumer some entertainment and education. Mix those two together. That is always a good recipe. There are people out there that purely entertain. And there are people out there that purely educate. And the people who purely entertain have a whole lot of followers. And the people who purely educate have some loyal, smaller following groups usually. And so I'm trying to combine those two things together.
Yeah.
And provide a combination of education and entertainment and really get people to stop and think about what's in their food, where's it coming from, and how can I do one thing better? And don't get bogged down because they'll just quit you. This American consumer, I tell you what, you wouldn't want to breed them. I'm telling you right now, they don't have much heart. They don't have much try. They don't have much give. It's sad to say. You got to make it pretty easy for them. I mean, it is very funny because I run into it because I don't get into I don't engage a whole lot with like people comment and stuff. I just let them hash it out themselves, but it really drives me crazy. They're like on my clips or something. It's like, where do we watch the full show? And I'm like, where do you watch podcast at? And then maybe search, just like if you put Cowboy in, it's going to pop up like anything. And I'm like, I really don't care if you got to spoon feed them.
Well, people get mad at me. They're like, why don't you just post the link, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, really?
We do post the link and they still ask the question.
Yes, it doesn't matter. And then I'm like, really, because I say I'm not here to entertain. Like people watch for entertainment or whatever, but I want to move somebody. I want to educate somebody to better their life on every episode, every piece of content. And so I'm like, if you don't have the wherewithal or the resourcefulness to go find the full show or, find something else, because in my life, that's how I got started. I was like, did research, and it's easy to do research. I'm like, if you don't have the wherewithal to do that, I probably can't help you anyway. So go watch something else. I don't even care.
It's and I've watched the guy that's got the taco casas stuff. I saw some video of him, and he said he's asked customers to leave. Well, I've fired customers. Yeah. And I tell you want to have some loyal wait staff. You don't have to fire very many customers. You let the legend grow that you will walk a customer out of the building for abusing your staff. I will not tolerate. You're not going to cuss my staff. Mm-hmm. You're not. No, we're not here for that. We're not tolerating that. Mm-hmm. Let's go right now. So you're not going to abuse these people. I spend more time with these people than I do my wife and kids. You're not going to abuse these people. So there's that. But then you train customers once people find out, like, oh, don't go over there. the customer's been trained to complain and get something for free. So with technology, technology allows me to go, I've had people basically, long story short, say they waited a long time for their table, waited a long time for the waiter, waited a long time for their drinks, waited a long time for their food, waited a long time to get paid out. We've been here 2.5 hours based on their timeline. You go over and run the technology combined with the cameras, go, you got here at 7:15 with no reservation on a Friday night. We got you seated at 7:34. You got greeted at 7:35. Oh, iPad in the waiter's hand. Greeted you, had to touch a button, ordered your water and tea at 7:35, ordered your alcoholic drinks at 7:40. When they came back with your tea and water, ordered your food at 7:40, your appetite. And you come back and go, hey guys, so you guys got here at 7:11. It's 8:32 and you're paid out. I'm not sure where this 2.5 hour experience came from. And they're like, well, it seemed like a long time. Okay, well, thanks for bringing it to my attention, but we did this, and this. And their eyes are like, oh, and it's like, no free dessert, huh? So, but once people find out they can't abuse you, those people either don't abuse you or they quit coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so my wait staff say, man, we have great customers. These are the best customers. I don't know if it's because we've trained some good customers. We have good food, good people. We draw good customers. We're proud of our customer base, and they're loyal, and we appreciate them, and it's good. But that dealing with the public, like I'm calling a lady when I leave here who sent us a message. She's had dozens of our chicken fried steaks, and they've been coming for years. And she had a chicken fried steak last night that was a little bit thicker than normal and a little bit chewy, and they're never coming back. Wait a minute. What do you do in life that perfection, like one time, years, and we're done. We're done. For years. We've been coming for years. I've had dozens of your chicken fried steaks. They were all awesome. But this one was not. We're never coming back. So I just want to ask her, like, and did she mention it to the staff? No. Did she ask for another one? No.
Mm-hmm.
Did she say, hey? No. We train our staff to walk around. This is what I tell them all the time. My walk and look. If somebody has eaten half of their food and they've pushed back, you better go ask them if they need a to-go box and they're full. Is there something wrong with this? And sometimes I'll see where maybe the breading doesn't look quite right on chicken fried steak or something, because I don't know what other restaurants are doing, but I'm using human beings to make food. And these human beings, they are flawed people. They make mistakes sometimes. They don't mean to. I have the best people in the world. They make mistakes sometimes. Things happen. And then I'm also harvesting cattle, another live animal. And they're like your kids and your dogs. Every now and then they'll disappoint you, Like maybe that Wagyu steer didn't have the best Wagyu sirloin for years. I don't know, but give us some grace that every now and then we're going to mess up. But we try to see when we mess up and we fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the technology tools I have, and you'll appreciate this, is that point of sale system that I have. That was my reservation system. And if you come in and eat with me 15 minutes after you pay your credit card bill or cash, we appreciate cash. Cuts out your business, but we like cash. You're going to get a text message saying, hey, Crockett, thanks for visiting us. How did we do? And if there's a problem, I get notified on my phone. Me and my manager, boom.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot tell you how many times on a Friday or Saturday night, hey, Mr. Carruthers, I just saw this text. I'm sorry you had this experience. I just looked into it. You know what? Your waiter didn't get over and talk to you. You're still in the parking lot. Will you stay right there? What are you driving? I'm going to bring you a gift card right now. Oh, you don't have to do that. I just want to let you know that the steak wasn't as good as it usually is. I said, no, I understand. I'm sorry. And, you don't move. I'm coming right now with the gift card. That's customer for life.
Mm-hmm.
Now the lady I'm going to call in a little bit, I don't know. Maybe we can, ooh, just had one chance.
Yeah.
one strike.
Don't every time you're on eggshells.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What do you do? But yeah.
Yeah. It's fun. And I go places and I'm just like, so I love to get like, you go somewhere and have a great experience. Like it's awesome. But then sometimes I'm like, you're sitting here with this drink that has nothing but ice left in it. Like, do you want more water? Yeah, obviously. Like, you didn't have to ask. You could have, or like you said, like noticing that somebody didn't eat. It's like, are you full, or was something wrong? You know, what was the issue there?
I say this to my wait staff sometimes, and I have to be careful because I said I offended a young lady one night. I said, you know, you're pretty decent looking, but you're not that good looking. But that customer has been watching you. When their eyes are locked on, we call it check down. Look at your tables. If they're looking at you, it's not like, man, that girl is pretty. Man, this is a good looking man. They probably need something. They're making eye contact with you. Make eye contact with your table. Make eye contact with your table. I say they have the look. They have the look. You know, they're not watching you just to see if you're going to trip and fall, and they want to see it. They probably need something. But yeah, it is hard in work ethic today. That's a whole show there.
I like the other day for my birthday, one of my favorite places, they opened a Brazilian steakhouse in Waco. So like if you want to go somewhere like nice, you got to go to Waco or somewhere. So we started going to this, and I love it because all you can eat meat, you know, and then they have like this really big salad bar deal. And I'm like, the whole experience is like really good just because I think for the fact that somebody's always coming around with food, they're coming around with the drinks. There's a manager walking through all. I'm like, I mean, they almost won't leave you alone long enough to just sit there and eat and have a conversation. But it's like you're not going without anywhere around there.
I joke about that. What's wrong, kids today is they've never had to go to a salad bar that only had iceberg lettuce, cubed ham, pickled beets, cottage cheese, fake cheese, and the little and saltine crackers, like the old school.
Yeah.
I always joke like one time I just want to have like kebabs.
Yeah, I think I was going to say kebabs.
Let's do where it's you get a sirloin, a baked potato, and a really crappy salad bar, all you can eat for a certain price, and have a band and have it be kebabs weekend at the local yokel. Find me I need a. Hey, you got a lot of viewers. If anybody knows where one of those fiberglass Hereford Bulls is, I desperately want to own one of those fiberglass Hereford Bulls because that was the mark of excellence as a child. If you did not have a fiberglass Hereford Bull in your parking lot, your dining establishment was not at a level for us to pull the old Cadillac Fleetwood Brom in there on a Saturday night. I mean, that was mark of excellence right there. I felt like, you know, all you could eat salad bar that only had 4 things on it. You know, that was
that lettuce was old shredded bag lettuce. You know,
it's just leftover iceberg lettuce. We're constantly telling our kids like you don't understand. No, you don't have it this good. Like you're 6 years old and you've eaten more steak than I had by the time I was 30. Okay, you don't. Whatever, Dad.
Yeah. I've seen the deal on Facebook going around of it's like. When I was a kid, my birthday party was at like McDonald's or the park, or you got to have 2 friends over or something. And now it's like, yeah, I'm thinking like a all-inclusive resort, blah, blah, blah. And, I mean, even with our girl, and we don't even have that much money. And Shady's like planning this months in advance. We got to have all this, do that. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, and just us. I mean, we're one generation back. We didn't have nothing like that.
Yeah, I mean, in 1976, they brought me home to a single wide trailer house with no air conditioning. It was a record heat wave, and they bought my mama. The family went in and bought her a window unit air conditioner for having me in that record heat wave summer of 1976. It's like over 100 for a lot of days, and you know, and I went to a little. My waiters, all my employees, says, tell us a story about your. So I went to this little almost one room schoolhouse. Well, we had first and second one grade in one room. Teacher teach first grade for half the class, second grade for half the class, right? Dual teaching, and so 2 grades and every class. We had welding, so we had a great metal arts guy who's also our assistant principal. And he'd bust your butt and teach you to use a cutting torch. So I remember the state of Oklahoma changed the law when I went into 5th grade. They said, oh, you can't let 5th and 6th graders weld and use a torch. You have to wait until you're in 7th grade. So I didn't get to weld. I didn't get to get my welding test until I was in 7th grade, but really grew up and we were just all poor. We just didn't realize how poor we were because we were all poor.
Yeah.
And
you didn't have anything to compare yourself to.
Compare to, you know, it's like, so it was really interesting. And we got air conditioning in 5th grade. We got one window unit per room, and it was a cool place to stand. But yeah, so people like, yeah, it was a little
nothing
bit
drives
deal.
me crazier than a kid. I mean, really, an adult, even anybody just griping about being hot, but really burns me up when a dang 10, 12, 8 to whatever kid there is like, it's hot outside. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Willow Creek Cattle Company develops and breeds hundreds of heifers a year for their customers. They can buy, develop, and AI heifers to the bull of your choice. They're located in Northeast Kansas in the heart of the Flint Hills, so they can also start and grow your grass cattle. The U.S. cow herd is currently at the lowest inventory ever recorded, and with these record high calf prices, Willow Creek Cattle Company can provide a turnkey supply of AI bred heifers to help you rebuild your herd. Give them a call for all your backgrounding and heifer development needs, 620-344-2795.
I don't even remember talking about it as a kid. I mean,
you probably weren't allowed. You weren't allowed to
stuff.
tell your
you
parents.
You don't remember the good stuff. I mean, so who knew? But man, we played like there were no obese kids. I mean, we played every day. We were playing basketball, football, baseball. We played those sports I mean, we had 3rd and 4th grade basketball tournaments. We were small schools, but sports were everything. And every kid got an opportunity to play. You didn't have to have a pitching coach, to be on the little league team. I feel sorry for these kids now, the pressures and people living vicariously through their kids. But yeah, it was, we homeschool. So we have 7 kids, 24, 22, 15, 13, 11, 9, 6. And so my wife homeschools. So we've got the 2 that are out of the house. They graduated with a classical homeschool education. My oldest daughter works in the business and is in the restaurant industry. And then my oldest son, he's a gunsmith. He want to go to gunsmith school, has a master's in gunsmith, and he's out there living his best life making guns. But all these kids, they work in the business. So my 15-year-old, my 13-year-old, we just had Oktoberfest. My 13-year-old was one of my 3 cashiers. He did about $12,000 worth of business on an iPad in 2.5 days. I was so tickled. This lady said, "How many times have you done this?" And he went, doot, 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 doot. He said, 1,408 times. I was like, that's awesome. He knew how to run the report and tell her how many tickets he'd ran over the course of days. He didn't get, he went, doot, 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 1,408 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good. So I think that's what being self-employed is really great. You get that opportunity to work with your kids and the family. We have,
I always say that, like, my goal is to, like, I don't want to have work and then home life, and you got your hobbies. Like, we do everything together. Like, we go to anything horse related, ranch related. If they can go, we're all going together. We're going, a lot of times they'll come up here, whatever. It's all kind of integrated together. It's not all separate.
And it's, my wife said to me, she said, we've got to start doing more cattle work together as a family. Cause we, it tends to be kind of early and they got their homeschool stuff going on. And, and then sometimes it's a lot, and just to slow down and get them to be more a part of that. Cause they want to, I did, boy, when I was a kid, my dad come get me out of school. He wasn't a cowboy. He was a farmer. And, but he knew that I was a big deal to me. So it's one of our focus points this year is to get our kids more involved in agriculture, and really just make sure that we're carrying on that legacy and really make time for them to be a part. But it is important. I was out with some of the big ranches in Montana, and they are losing it because they've been bought. They said corporate lawyers are going to be the death of us. They're no longer letting the ranch hands' kids come and be a part of dragging calves. Yeah. And so, the damn lawyers are going to ruin the whole world for all of us. But it's good.
Well, it's because freaking people sue people all the time.
No, it's well, I guess if you've never had someone trespass onto one of your lease places and be over the legal limit for alcohol, marijuana, and painkillers at 10 a.m. in the morning and drowned in a pond and then get sued over it, well, you just haven't lived, right?
Tell me, I want to ask you this about kids, because we have one, and
That's a good start.
And I got to start somewhere. So, and I want to have a bunch. And Shady's talked about having a bunch, but being pregnant and off of doing her stuff is kind of limits her. You know, it's not as much fun for her.
Yeah.
But I listen to Patrick Bet-David a lot. He's big on having kids, repopulating the world with smart, hardworking people. And at his conference the other day, he was saying he was like, stand up if you got this many kids, this many. And he got to like 4 and 6 and got down to like 4 or 5 people that had more than 6 or 8 or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And so he's brought them up on stage. And this one guy had, I don't know, like 8, 10, 12 kids or something. He had a pile of them. And he's asked him about it. And he's like, well, once you get past 3, it's really all the same because the old one's independent and will kind of help you take care.
2 is the hardest number. People quit at 2 because it's the hardest number. Now, these other 5, you may notice there was a gap there. And I said that I got divorced. And so people use, I talk about my ex-wife, Heather, and I talk about my wife, Heather. And I say, well, I married 2 Heathers, not at the same time, because, you know, that'd be weird. But I married 2 Heathers. And I also say that I got currently a 79 model. Previously had a 77 model. A lot of improvements between 77 and 79. I don't care if ex-wife hears that. A lot of improvements made. But, you know, having that older girl to help, because if you have a firstborn girl, it's 3 adults and these kids. It's us. What are we going to do about these kids?
Yeah.
So it is. But when we talk large families, definitely encourage people to get past this 2 because it is easier. And hey, you're already set up. I mean, you got everything you need, right? Yeah. and also, we love seeing first-time people with their first kid come in the restaurant. You can spot them. So they got a table mat and they brought their own. They got a cover for the deal. And then you see these people come in, they throw like Cheerios, half of them go on the table, half of them go on the floor. They throw their kid in a chair with no booster seat. Yeah, that's their 5th or 6th kid right there.
I always feel bad after we leave it, like a Mexican place for sure, because Lottie will eat rice and beans a lot. We let her eat by herself. Well, that dang rice, a lot of it ends up on the floor. Yeah. And I'm like, dang, I kind of feel bad for these people.
We talk about you, but it's okay. We did that. I tell you what, that's not as bad as like the people that will let their kids just run amok. And I had a group one time, they let their kids, they brought in cupcakes. They let their kids smear icing all over one of my private rooms. And I didn't catch it till they were in the parking lot. And I'd tell you, I was running to the parking lot, trying to get a piece of my mind.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. You know, you're stuck in your own little deal and you don't really know what's going on outside. Well, Lottie, she just turned 3 and we started this Kid Strong deal in Waco. And it's like they do like obstacle courses. It's supposed to be like build confidence plus like exercise and stuff. Well, so she's in there with these other kids and these other kids, they're like, so you have a teacher and they're like, you know, you're going to go through, you're going to do this, and then you're going to go up here and jump over and, you know, do this whole course. And then they're like, okay, go. And 4 of the 6 kids are like, ah! They just take off running and screaming.
So, you know, my wife, she's such a better parent than me and just pushes me to be better. And she'll say like, you wouldn't do that to the dog. You know, you wouldn't chew on the dog like that. So you talking about that obstacle course, there's a well-known child psychologist that says that taking the monkey bars off the playground was the worst thing that ever happened for kids. It gave them a place they could climb 1 bar, but next week, 2 bars. And by the end of the year, the top. And they can learn, and it is that foundation. So we made all these playgrounds, all these safe places. They don't have anywhere to fail. Mm-hmm. They don't have anywhere to be brave, grow confident, and learn. Yeah. So I just encourage all people, and your listeners, people are in the mostly agrarian world. So I want you to just encourage you, you know, think about how you've raised, trained animals and think about a lot of that with your kids. And this is me. I mean, I've got a ton of growing to do as a dad because my dad, I love him, but he probably wasn't, there's no books written on his parenting. Okay. So, and there's probably a lot of books written on parenting that shouldn't be written, but the people at homeschool or small rural schools are really involved their kids in 3 generations. You're just going to be amazed to see what that does because there is a group of people out here that are not reproducing. There's a huge group of people for a lot of different reasons. No politics. They're just not reproducing. And that genome is gone. So there's a lot. I tell people, hey, it's all right. My grandkids are going to have it a lot better because I think we're going to leave a lot of this mess behind because it's going to breed out. It's cold out.
Yeah. It's, I heard that the other day. I don't remember on what, but they were talking about urbanization. They went through, like the Industrial Revolution, and it's just like we were all hunter-gatherers to now it's mainly urban. And as people move to the city, you stop having kids. Just like, probably when you're a kid, like large families, or 4 to 7 to 10 kids or whatever. 4 is probably small. And now, like you said, a lot of people we know just have 1. You might have 2, and because you're not going to put them to work. You don't need them for anything, and it's harder to provide for them. I mean, it can be. Depends on it's really just your spending habits.
Yeah,
but
it's communication, interaction. For the love of all things good, no matter what your kids, get them involved in 4-H or FFA. Get them public speaking. In our homeschool community, our 5-year-olds come every week and say, "Hi, my name is Bonnie. My name is Lorraine. This is my water bottle. It's my favorite water bottle. I got it at Local Yokel. Do you have any questions about my water bottle?" That's what we start a 5-year-old with. And people, I had a group of educators say, or talk to me. I said, we know within 10 seconds if we're interviewing a homeschool kid or a public school kid. No way. I said, they shake your hand. They're just glad to meet you. Glad to be here. I said, and these public school kids who do this, they're on their phone. They don't get off their phone for an interview. And you're like, hey, could you put that down for a minute?
I got a couple of questions for you.
Yeah. And then they just can't figure out why they can't get a job. So yeah, we do well with the home. We do well with the homeschool private school product in my businesses. There's some great public school kids out there too, though. They're just you gotta cull hard.
Staying on that kind of topic, what advice would you give to somebody like a young kid coming out of high school or college or something like that?
I've not encouraged my kids to go to college. I'll support them if that's what they want to do, but I think there's a better path to education. I'd say this. I see young people who think they're building their resume by going and working 3 months here, 3 months here, 3 months here. And then they go, hey, look at me. I've worked at 10 places. I've learned all these things. And I go, no, it looks like you can't keep a job. Go find someone. Until you're 25 years old, you don't know what it is you want to do. You don't. You think you got it figured out, but let me tell you, you don't, and I didn't either. So just grow up. Take the pressure off. Go work for somebody and learn. Like go ask somebody for a job. I take on interns. I let them see financials. I let them, if they want to. I've taken on kids to do different things. I've got a young man that came to me, he didn't from a ranching family, a ranching job. I didn't have one for him. We were able to get one now. We created a position for him, and he's working with my partners on the cattle feeding and my partner on the Murray Grays, and he's getting an education. He's getting a great education in what it is he wants to do in life. So there's a lot cheaper places to get educated than a liberal arts university. And that's great. If you want to go get a degree because you know what it is you want to do in life, but going and showing up at my place at 23 with a degree in Latin, well, I shouldn't say Latin because we teach Latin at my homeschool, but the sociology, but you want to be a business manager with a sociology degree. Well, that didn't help you in life. Don't go to college to figure out what you're going to do in life. Figure out what you're going to do in life, then go to college. Grow up a little bit. Take the pressure off of going to college at 19. Go work and grow up. If I could have a magic wand, if they let me, and I'm not going to run for a major office, but I get begged to. If I could bring back the CCC, so all these kids, I need college paid for. We'd love to pay for your college. You give me 2 years, I'll give you 2 years. You give me 4 years, I'll give you 4 years. We've got a college scholarship program right now called United States Military. I don't want that. Well, let me give you another path. Let's let you go work for 2 to 4 years in our national parks, our state parks. Go learn some pride in your country. Go learn how to do something with your hands. Go learn how to be a part of a team and grow up. And then let's go. Let's send you to a 2-year trade school. You give me 2 years, I'll give you 2 years. You give me 4 years, I'll give you 4 years. Go learn how to run a backhoe. Go learn, that might make some better drivers. We get some equipment operators. But what would it look like if we could get the young people of America, a bunch of them to go serve their country voluntarily? But if you want something, nothing's for free. And that's the problem. Everybody wants something for free. Go earn it and go to a trade school. Go to a trade school. I have people with 2 and 3 degrees that I can't hire. And I got people that I can't keep employed because they learned how to weld and they go make $2,000 or $3,000 a week welding. HVAC. Yeah.
What about some on that same topic, education, like some books or some resources, podcast? And you said you didn't listen to podcasts.
I wish I needed to do more podcasts. Again, what is it you're trying to do in life? What is it trying to do? We're trying to, with Noble Research Institute, we're trying to create a 2-year regenerative agriculture ranching degree. It'd be a somewhat parallel to the kind of the TCU ranch management degree. We're working on that. Well, that's going to be on campus in Ardmore, Oklahoma, or in conjunction with Murray State University. And it's as simple. It's going to be a working degree. We're going to teach you how to build fence in the morning, and then teach you intensive rotational grazing in the afternoon. We're going to teach you how to build hot wire and move it in the morning. And we're going to teach you handing soil testing in the afternoon. Yeah. And so what is it you're looking to do? Go find a business that's successful. Don't take health, and I need to lose a little weight, but don't take health advice from overweight people. Don't take financial advice from broke people. And go find people. The guy that mentioned, he said, you ought to go do a franchise. I thought, well, you know what? He was right in a lot of things he said, but that franchise provides some support. And because I was like, I don't think that's good advice. I don't think that's good. But then the more I thought, no, he's right. I got the advantage of learning from all these other restaurateurs. So I didn't have to do that. But yeah, go find what it is. If you want it, so what's a college degree going to cost you now? $30,000, $40,000 a year? You'd be better off to go work for someone for free for 2 years. You'd learn more. If you came to me and said, I'd pay you, but if you came to me, I could make you a better college degree. If you wanted to come work for me and learn the business, I'm going to put you on a horse, and I'm going to put a knife in your hand to cut a steak, and I'm going to put you on a grill to grill a steak. I'm going to show you the financials of what got it there. Show me a school that has that. So, find that. If that's what you want to do. If you want to do credit card sales, come find out about business. Come hang out with you. What is it you want to do? But you probably don't know what you want to do because you're 20 years old.
Yeah. I didn't really know. Well, I had an idea, but it changed at 30. Yeah.
So my dad told me something, because I had a deal. I want to be a millionaire at the time I was 30. And I was a negative millionaire along the way. So he said, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. He said, you really don't grow up till you're 25. You figure out what you're doing when you're 30, but you don't really put anything together till you're 40. You're not going to put together any wealth until you're in your 40s. So take the pressure off yourself. Like you see people, and it's like lottery winners. Like, that guy's just like, don't do that to yourself. Don't compare to the guy that, and a lot of times you don't understand, like he's successful. He's 4th generation or 3rd generation. He had a leg up. Everybody talks about Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A closed on Sunday, doing all this. Yeah, they founded in 1954. Yeah, they're the dynamo, but they're not 15 years old.
Put a lot of work in.
Yeah, it took a long time. But anyway, that would be my free advice.
Yeah.
But if anybody wants to learn a restaurant business or a ranching business or whatever, we'd be glad to talk to you. But find somebody. That's my best advice.
And I got to ask you, being an owner, what's your favorite restaurant?
Other than my own?
You could say your own if you want.
I do. I'm telling you right now, you've never eaten with us, but if you came and ate the food that we deliver with the steaks that we produce, you wear a brand new pickup and not find a better meal than we put on the table.
I want to come. I want to do the whole experience and do the class.
I'll get you a hotel room.
Both the restaurants and the store.
It
I
is.
kind of want to just surprise you and come in, and then I'm like the undercover.
Yeah,
guy.
I'd love it. I'll pay you. You come do it, and I'll reimburse you. You can give me all the undercover feedback. But I mean, I used to do a lot of stuff. I used to really be in the know in restaurants. Restaurants in Dallas. Albernays was always a great service, great atmosphere, good food. And they're all the kind of the newer places that have great food, and those places come and go. But it depends on what your itch is. Tim Hutchins still cranks out day in, day out, world-class barbecue. I always tell Tim, I said, I just want to be the second best brisket in McKinney. He goes, no, you want to be the best brisket in McKinney. You want to beat me. Get up every morning, try to beat me. So, we got a lot of great food in McKinney. But yeah, I think that I think that the quality of food that we put on the table, the style of food we put on the table in our genre, we are as good as there is. And I'd be sad if I had to not eat there.
And tell everybody, where it is, how to reach every one of your entities.
It's all Local Yokel. So Local Yokel, Farm to Market, the butcher shop, Local Yokel, Barbecue and Grill, the restaurant, Lo-Yo Burger, whoop, the wrench in there, shorten up. Like, see, I could afford less and less letters. And then LY Outfitters. So people they'll see me in the clothes store. What? What's you own this? Like, LY, Local Yokel. And they're the brand, and they're like, oh, yeah, that got past me. So those are all of our things. LY Outfitters, Lo-Yo Burger, Local Yokel Farm to Market, Local Yokel Barbecue and Grill.
And on social media.
It's Local Yokel. You'll find us. So, like on Twitter or X now, we're under just Local Yokel. But I have media accounts under all those silly things. But Local Yokel Farm to Market is definitely our hottest channel right now. But yeah, if you put Local Yokel in, YOCAL, you should be able to find us out there. Awesome. It'll come up.
Well, I'm glad you came on. We could go. I have to have you back or something. We could go way longer. I think. I don't think we could dive in deeper to different subjects.
Topics. We could just pick topics and focus in on.
But y'all go check out Local Yokel, and we'll see y'all next time. As a business owner, Google reviews can make or break you. The problem, happy customers don't always speak up, and the few bad ones can drag you down fast. That's why we built Review Wizard, a free tool that makes getting 5-star reviews simple. Just post a QR code in your business, customers can scan it, and in seconds they leave you a review. But that's just the start. Review Wizard helps you respond to customers automatically, share reviews straight to social media, and even add them to your website to build instant trust. Every new review boosts your Google SEO ranking, making it easier for new customers to find you online. And if you want to take it to the next level, our AI upgrade can filter out the bad reviews before they hit your page and engage with your customers so you don't lose them. That means more good reviews, less damage control, and stronger relationships. The best part, the base version is completely free. No catch. Just click the link below and start turning your happy customers into your best marketing team today.